Hey guys, it's Pastor Katie and I have a new book for you today. It's called Last Stop on Market Street. CJ pushed through the church doors and skipped down the steps. The outside air smelled like freedom, but it also smelled like rain, which freckled CJ's shirt as it dropped down his nose. He ducked under his Nana's umbrella saying, "How come we've got to wait for the bus in all this wet?" "Trees get thirsty too," Nana told him. "Don't you see that big one is drinking through a straw?" CJ looked for a long time, but he didn't see a straw. From the bus stop, he watched the water pool on the flower petals. He watched the rain patter against the windshield of a nearby car. His friend Colby climbed in and gave CJ a wave and then drove off with his dad. "Nana, how come we don't have a car?" "Boy, what do we need a car for? We've got a bus that breathes fire and old Mr. Dennis who always has a trick for you." The bus creaked to a stop in front of them. It sighed and it sagged as the doors swung open. "What's that I see?" said Mr. Dennis. He pulled a coin from behind CJ's ear and placed it in his palm. Nana laughed her deep laugh and pushed CJ along. They sat right up front, where a man across the way was tuning a guitar, and an old woman with curlers had butterflies in a jar. Nana gave everyone a great big smile and a good afternoon, and she made sure that CJ did the same. The bus lurched forward and stopped. It lurched forward and it stopped. Nana hummed as she knit. "How come we always have to go here after church?" CJ said. "Miguel and Colby never have to go anywhere." "I feel sorry for those boys," she said. "They'll never get a chance to meet Bobo or the sunglass man." "I hear Trixie got herself a brand new hat," and CJ stared out the window feeling sorry for himself as he watched the cars zip by on either side, as he watched a group of boys hop on curbs and hop on bikes. A man climbed aboard with a spotted dog. CJ gave up his seat. "How come that man can't see?" "Boy, what do you know about seeing?" Nana said. "Some people watch the world with their ears." "That's a fact, their noses too," the man said, sniffing the air. "That's a mighty fine perfume you're wearing today, ma'am." Nana squeezed the man's hand and laughed a deep laugh. The two older boys got on next. CJ watched as they moved by and stood in the back. "I sure wish I had one of those." Nana set down her knitting. "What for? You've got a real live thing sitting across from you. Why don't you ask the man if he'll play us a song?" CJ didn't have to. The guitar player was already plucking strings and began to sing. "To feel the magic of music," the blind man whispered, "I like to close my eyes," and Nana closed hers too. So CJ did, and so did the spotted dog. And in the darkness, the rhythm lifted CJ out of the bus and out of the busy city. He saw the sunset colors swirling over crashing waves. He saw a family of hawks slicing through the sky. He saw the old woman's butterflies dancing free in the light of the moon. CJ's chest grew full, and he was lost in the sound, and that sound gave him the feeling of magic. The song ended, and CJ opened his eyes, and everyone on the bus clapped, even the boys in the back. Nana glanced at the coin in CJ's palm, and CJ dropped it in the man's hat. "Last stop on Market Street," Mr. Dennis called. CJ looked around as he stepped off the bus. Crumbling sidewalks and broken-down doors, graffiti-tagged windows and boarded-up stores. He reached for Nana's hand. "How come it's so dirty all over here?" She smiled and pointed to the sky. "Sometimes when you're surrounded by dirt, Sometimes when you're surrounded by dirt, CJ, you're a better witness for what is beautiful." CJ saw a perfect rainbow arching over their soup kitchen. He wondered how his Nana always found beautiful whenever he was never thinking to look. He looked around them again as the bus rounded the corner and out of sight, as the broken street lamps still lit up bright, and the stray cat shadows moved across the wall. When he spotted the familiar faces in the window, he said, "I'm glad we came." He thought his Nana might laugh her deep laugh, but she didn't. She patted him on the head and said, "Me too, CJ. Now come on." And there they are on the bus going back. You know, CJ spends a lot of time in this book trying to think of how much he doesn't like his life. All the things that would be better if he could do things different, like have a car or didn't have to ride on the bus. But in the end, he's able to see something beautiful, even in the midst of the hard places. And I hope that's true for you too. Even though this isn't what we would want, it is what we are living in. And even here and now, God is moving and working. And I hope you can think about that as you rest tonight. May you sleep well. Good night.